What's up, Horror Fiend TV? I'm Ricky Grimes back with Joe. This is the Horror Fiend TV podcast discussing The Walking Dead. In this episode, we're going to discuss episode season 11, episode 10. It's called New Haunts. Real quick, Joe, what's your thoughts overall? What you thought of the episode?
Oh, it was a good episode because we're getting some character development on actually, especially the one thing, the up and coming antagonist.
Yeah.
Is kind of put in here for the people who don't know what's coming up. So it was a good episode though.
Yeah, I dug it a lot. Nothing really happened in it that's gonna blow you away. That was the previous episode, but what this did is it took The Walking Dead into a whole nother direction. Like Alexandria, when we first got there, that was kind of like the shifting point. But now this is a whole nother level. I think it fast forward 30 days. Not all the Alexandrians acclimated quite yet. Obviously, Maggie's probably still in Alexandria and others. But Daryl, surprisingly, he's trying. And I'm surprised. And I love the fact that they went this route. Let's get into this opening scene because this had me kind of bugging out. Because as I'm watching this scene, it starts off with walkers and it's dark. And it's like almost like a little sewer system or something. RJ, Judith, and Daryl walking the corridors. And as I'm watching this and I see the walkers sitting like the plexiglass, and I'm thinking to myself, damn, that could make an awesome haunted attraction. That's what it looks like. It looks like a funhouse, you know? And lo and behold, they were in the actual funhouse. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, that was their intentions. They pulled it off. And the fact that Daryl is realizing that the Commonwealth they're at a point where they're using live walkers as entertainment.
Yeah.
So he walks out. He sees the place thriving. He sees a lot of his friends mingling and doing their own thing. And Daryl's got this look on himself where he's still not convinced, but you could tell he's gonna try and give this a shot. What you thought about this opening sequence?
I mean, like you said, I thought they were in trouble again. I'm like, how did they get separated, and how did Daryl end up with the kids? Where's everybody else? And as you said, like you're seeing them like hitting on the plexiglass, and it's a haunted house. They're trying to just live a normal life. They're I guess moving on as if the walkers don't exist, and as you said, now they're just kind of being used for entertainment, scary entertainment, but it's maybe a way to get them to not be so scared of them anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. When I read the comic up until this point, I did not like this Commonwealth story because it was like I said in the previous video, I don't like the upper lower class system story they were going for. But for some reason, seeing the actors as we know them, like happy and doing like, just living out their lives differently. Like Rosita and Daryl like got jobs. They're making income, and of course we see the upper class and lower class here already, starting with Magna and Yumiko, which we'll probably get into that a little bit later on. But it's called New Haunts. Did the title mean anything, or did they reference it?
Haunts is more like I've had this conversation with Adam because he brought it up before. That's an old term being used for like a place you hung out.
Mm-hmm.
So the Alexandria is the old haunts.
Oh, okay.
Commonwealth is the new haunts. It's a old. I want to say it's a more of a New England term they use explaining a place you used to hang out or live.
See, I look at it as a haunted house. If you go to a haunted house, what do they call it? Oh, let's go to the haunt. That's they would normally.
Yeah, no, I mean but that's where I think they were going with it. It's just basically giving like this is their new haunts. This is their new hangout for them.
Joe, you're a Florida guy. Have you ever been to the Walking Dead attraction? Because they have one in Florida, don't they? It's a universal. It's a universal attraction.
I did it when they had the haunted house. I went there for Halloween Horror Nights, and it was the Walking Dead. Yeah.
Yes, it was part of Halloween Horror.
I did the Walking Dead one.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, I had that. Actually, that was I think I talked to you guys because I did that one, and that was the year that Halloween 2 was one of the houses also.
Yep.
And I preferred Halloween 2 Haunted House over the Walking Dead one.
Yeah. The Walking Dead one seemed kind of tame. I saw videos of it. And of course, you got the actors going in pretending to be scared,
But, but it was cool. Pretty cool.
I would still do it, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I totally, because I'm a Walking Dead fan, I was like, no, we have to do it.
Now, all right, this part I loved. again, we're seeing different sides of characters, and Rosita has been one of my favorite characters in this show since the comic book. And Kristen Serratos, the actress, I think is so underrated in this role because Rosita's character is very strong. Like I said before, she could do almost anything and is very, very valuable to this team. And I don't think she gets enough shine. I love the fact it took her and Daryl and put them on the security team with Mercer. I thought that was cool. Now let's get into this real quick. Daryl is paired with some random schmo. So is Rosita. The guy's green. I forgot Daryl's guy, but Daryl quickly is like, you mind if I go with Espinoza? We make a good team. And they're like, nope. The whole point is to see how they work well with others as a team. Yeah. Of course, Rosita and Green, I think that's his name. If it's not, I apologize, but they work well. They do. There's one knife between the two pairs, and they do well exchanging the knife back and forth, covering each other's backs. Daryl, on the other hand, the guy he has, this guy's what a dweeb, man. He was so useless. Daryl did everything for the guy. Of course, Daryl's team fails because of that. Rosita's team passes that test. And Mercer's already got his eye on Daryl because he knows Daryl is stuck in his own way. Daryl being his own worst enemy, What you thought about this?
And Mercer, if you notice, it was during that scene, Mercer was the one that ended up having to save the guy. Because he was getting pinned by the walker, and Mercer had to shoot the walker.
And what did Daryl say? I had him.
Yeah.
I believe Daryl, but again, yeah.
It was supposed to be the whole teamwork, and he was basically letting his partner almost get killed.
Yeah.
So he failed because he wasn't he was doing it all on his own.
Yeah. And there's another component to this scene now. Daryl gets reprimanded by Mercer. He's like, Dixon, you with me. And they got a special mission. What they got going?
Well, here's where they are taken to train Sebastian Milton. If you Walking Dead fans don't know, you're going to start getting glimpses of the final antagonist of the series. And you saw it in the first episode when he ended up getting Eugene in trouble for walking in on the date. So he's a spoiled brat. They have to sit there and train him on how to use weapons. And he's like picking up all the weapons as if like, I can do this one. I can do this one.
Not just that though. That's Daryl and Rosita's arsenal, and he just
I know
and throwing it around like nothing.
Yeah, he's disrespecting their shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they're sitting there, and then they pull out they open up for the walkers to come out so you can start killing them. And once again, Daryl jumps in there to save them. Yep. He gets all kind of pissed off, which is just now going to. I think Daryl is stepping into the shoes of Rick.
Yeah.
In the book, because now you have a lot of characters in the a lot of characters are taking other characters' places in here. Like Yumiko is Michonne's role. So Daryl is in Rick's role because in the book, Rick and Sebastian don't get along. And that's where you're seeing this is where Daryl is going to, which kind of I hope, because if you know what happens, so hopefully it's not a prelude to something that bad is coming, because I feel that if they're going to stick to it, Sebastian is going to be taking out a major hitter. We'll just have to see who it is.
We'll see. I'm afraid of that. And just like, again, I'm afraid of Rosita too, because once they start giving somebody a little bit more of a role, we covered that before, and there's still a void to be filled with Andrea's death. I'm convinced they're still going to do it somehow or something similar to it. And I hope it's not Rosita, but again, we shall see. Now, this is another interesting part. Now, they're not just, they're working security for Mercer, but they're literally working for a paycheck, like earning income. And what I found so unique about this, I don't know, it's sweet in my opinion. And Daryl's first paycheck, he gives it to Judith. He buys Judith the record player to play vinyls. Oh, come on. That's so wholesome right there, man.
It is. But that's why, again, he's taking Rick's role because, he's doing the father part. Because for a moment there, I'm like, where are the parents?
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm just like, it started really hitting me, especially in this episode with Daryl. Basically, I'm like, I know Michonne's off, Rick's dead, but it's kind of like Daryl's the
Judith
father.
Is staying with Daryl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think RJ also.
Yeah. I found it interesting that him Rosita and Gabriel, they're all neighbors. Like,
Well, in an apartment complex. It looks like it's an apartment
that's what it
complex.
looks
It's
like.
not even a house.
They just
And
come out the back and just looking at each other like, "You ready? Yeah, let's do this." Like,
yeah, that was pretty funny.
all right. Another interesting component to this, which another character I really love is Ezekiel. Ezekiel has a lot going for him right now, of course, with his illness, and he's gotten some news within the last few episodes he's kind of keeping it to the heart. But Carol is not stupid. She knows. And you see, with passing like Shiva's chain, giving it to like Jerry's kid, and giving Henry's personal belongings to Carol. Like he knows his time is up, and Carol's like, no, you're not gonna give up that easy. So she tries to help him out. Like, what's your thoughts on this? Because it's a little storyline. I kind of liked it.
Well, I mean, I at this point, if you're not going to put her with Daryl, then have her get back with him. Because I did like the dynamic between Ezekiel and her as a couple, especially.
Yeah.
So if he is going to go natural, let it be with her. Them together as a couple again, even if it is for her to basically watch them die. But I just want them to get back together because they do have the kid between them. That's like their connection. It's still something that haunts her to this day, and
there's still something there. I mean, there's still a spark between the two of them, and like Carol, if she does hook up with Daryl, I think that'll be like, I would say a disappointment, because that's almost them giving in. Like, okay, you guys wanted it, here you go. The fact that they don't do it and they keep putting Daryl with these other, Leia, Connie, like they know what they're doing because they get the internet talking. So that's how they get it going. So yeah, I dug all that. Now Mercer, there's a scene in this here when Mercer arrives at was it a banquet? Well, no,
it's the governor's ball.
The governor's ball, yes. Pamela Milton. He arrives like a superstar, man. Like, he's got the first class treatment. Princess is like fangirling over there, and he's like, "Yeah, come on, you want to come inside? What's up with that? Like, what you got? What you got for this? Because I like this a lot too."
I did like it. I mean, I know that I guess they're trying to make the people in the Commonwealth feel like life is normal. So having like paparazzi was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Everybody them sitting there taking pictures, but that is just adding to the classism, because those people are paid to do that to make these basically the elite people feel like they're special. Like Sebastian shows up like he's royalty.
Of course,
Mercer is not comfortable with it. So and even when he tries to take Princess in, he's like, well, there's a dress code.
He's like, what do you say?
Because she looks like she looks like fucking Cinderella.
I love her so much, man.
She looks like I'm like, even the dress she wears, her little crown. I'm like, are those shells on that crown? I'm like, so it's like Cinderella got taken to the ball. That was, like I said, it was the only part I found just to be a little corny, but then when you think about it, it's helped they're doing it because they want the elite to feel like they're popular and famous. Like, everybody wants to be like them, because I'm like thinking, what newspaper are they publishing all these pictures in? So that's why they're actors. Like they work, their job is just to be reporters, even though there's probably no publication.
Right, that's true. Because another thing too, the story, as far as the show, kind of skipped over the part where the group first comes into Commonwealth. Because in the comics, when they first go in, they see like all these people at a giant football stadium. So they watch this football games that they partake in. We didn't get any of that yet. So we just already 30 days, they're in it. So we're kind of like, we're just thrown right into it and seeing all these characters in these awkward situations where we're not used to them being in. And like you said, it looks cheesy and corny. And that's because it's like, it comes out of nowhere. It's like 1 minute, the episode prior was so like dark and bleak compared to this. And you know what I'm saying? So that's the only thing I wish they would have showed them up. I get it. They've done it with Alexandria, the Hilltop. They've done it plenty of times prior to that. And the Kingdom, they did it too. So, I mean, that's okay. I don't mind them skipping around a bit. But now, you mentioned before you did not see the Walking Dead bonus episodes, right?
I did.
So the scene in here with that waiter who kind of rebels and he goes nuts and Daryl has to go looking for him.
His name is Tyler Davis.
Yes, he was in a bonus episode with Princess, Ezekiel, Yumiko, and Eugene when they first when the Commonwealth first grabs him, throws him into the train car, they start interrogating him one by one. He was a soldier, a Commonwealth soldier that was tasked to bring in Princess. But Princess was going a little crazy, and she saw Ezekiel in the room with her. And Ezekiel got so mad, he beat the crap out of this guy, right? Because he didn't trust him. But what really happened was Ezekiel was never there. That was all Princess. Princess was the one beating him up. So that's how he lost his gig as a soldier, I guess, you know? So that's why, yeah. So that same character got brought back. And now he's, instead of a soldier, he's a nothing. He's like a waiter. He's a nobody now. And now that's why he's going into this, like, no, it's Commonwealth ain't what it seems. So how did you take all that as someone who's didn't see that, and all of a sudden it's got this random guy in here, and, you know, causing a lot of trouble?
Well, for me, it's again, which I've mentioned a couple of times now, it was another, you know, thing of the classism. He was speaking on the fact that they don't care unless you're rich. Anybody else below, they don't care.
Yeah,
they took his job, and at this point, you know, sorry, you're shit out of luck.
Honestly, you know? I'd rather be in Alexandria, dude. Like, I don't want to live like that.
Yeah, I mean, because it just kind of like you're all supposed to be equal, and yet now you're having it where you have like everybody is in these sections, and this is also the beginning of the resistance.
Yes.
So he went from being a soldier, so he's part of the resistance, which is another thing that should be coming up.
That's like Yumiko and Magna were a couple for a very long time. They're separated, but now Yumiko's up here, and Magna's a piece of shit, essentially. You know, she's just a waiter too.
Yeah, she's
so
a waiter.
Imagine seeing it from her point of view. Like, wait a minute, what the hell is going on here? So, and that's the only character I think so far that's really affected by that. Because Princess, of course, she's probably on the low on the totem pole too.
Yeah.
But everyone else has, you know, their skills are used accordingly. But it's funny seeing Carol once again baking and handing out, you know, cookies and
she loves to bake.
She loves it. But at the same time, she's snooping around. Lance Hornsby, pretty much saying, you know, I'll bring you this fancy wine to impress the governor if you hop Ezekiel to the front of the line for his surgery. But of course, the wine didn't go over very well. Like, did you notice that?
Well, I don't think what I think it is, I think that there's a underlying tension between Lance and the governor. I don't think they like each other. So I think that
he's trying so hard to impress her.
Yes. And so they have a bit of a disdain for each other. And it was clear with her. So I bet you that the wine was fine, but she just didn't want to give him the compliment.
Probably not. Yeah.
You know, because again, that would remind him, you're lower than me.
Just that little nod too when she walks away and hands the wine fully intact. Probably took a couple sips. Just handed it over to her assistant Stephanie, which that's the real Stephanie. Let's get this out there right now. The girl that Eugene's been talking to. That's her. That's really her. That's okay. I don't know where they're going with this switching, having like a fake Stephanie. I don't know where the hell that came from, but I guess we got to wait and see how that plays out.
Well, yeah, I mean, we got to get back to the ball and talking about when Tyler basically was trying to get the governor to say his name. She didn't even know who he was, and he takes off. Mercer, Rosita, and Daryl are then looking for him, and Daryl, of course, is the one that ends up finding him. And when Daryl finds him, who shows up? Sebastian. Sebastian then kind of mocks him a little bit, saying, "Oh, you finally did something right." And Daryl hands Tyler over to Sebastian and says, "You take him in." You see before he walks in, he messed up his hair, messed up his clothes, and then brings him in, and then everybody's clapping like he's the big hero.
Because Daryl doesn't want that.
No, and this is just a little bit more of the coddling that's going on with Sebastian, which is basically creating the monster he's going to end up becoming.
Yeah, essentially. And we also got Rosita interrogates a few people. She has a very interesting conversation with Magna too. And you could tell Magna just doesn't want to be there. She wants nothing of this. She's like being really apprehensive towards Rosita. And I don't blame her whatsoever on that.
Well, I feel that it's because, they were all in a group together. Yeah. And now Rosita is above Magna.
Mm-hmm. Everybody is.
So, she's like stuck in this. So, it's another thing that it's basically the fracture that's going to start within the main core people, I feel, because they're all in different levels now. So they're going to start kind of disliking each other. Because I felt like at that point, the trust that they had, because now they're not basically together anymore, there's no trust between them. Magna's not going to talk to her because she's part of the military, basically. Like, why am I going to tell you anything?
So
why am I going to...
You're right. That's interesting. So Rosita and Daryl they're working security for right now as part of the Commonwealth, and we got Yumiko, the lawyer. Now we see it's another thing too. We see a lot of characters like we saw Kelly looking very nice, and Connie, which is a reporter or a journalist. Is that
Yeah.
that's what she did before. So she's running around with her little notepad, and Carol obviously is probably baking everything. Ezekiel's the zookeeper, or what was this? What
Yeah,
did him do?
I don't know. What was it? I
Or
can't
animal
remember.
hand or something. I don't know.
Something. Yeah, I think it was animal handler.
Something like that. But yeah, we're seeing everybody in these like roles and these positions where we're just not used to seeing that.
Yeah.
We see everybody be so dirty and fearing for their lives. But hey man, it's cool that we're going in this direction now because a lot of time has passed since The Walking Dead started. It's more for us, it's been over a decade. For them, it's been way more because there's a lot of time jumps,
Yeah.
So it's gonna be
we gotta be at least and there's gonna be another time jump too. Yeah.
So, but by then, there's going to be some sort of society forming once again. Somehow, some way, there's going to be the structure and civilization being built once again to be how it used to be. So now it makes perfect sense. A lot of people tend to complain, "Oh, this show used to be about zombies. What happened?" It's got to move on past that because the characters has to evolve.
Yeah.
The situations got to evolve. You know what I mean? So let's get into the final moments of this episode now.
Oh, they were searching everywhere because they said he could not be alone. And when Tyler spoke, he said we. So by using plural, there's more than one.
Right,
They were basically searching workers. They were searching the workers' home, which again is another part of were searching the rich people homes. They weren't searching the middle class. They were searching the workers' homes to look for the rest of the resistance, and then find that one room, which has, basically like all the spray painting, all the signs that they're going to be, and some of the signs, like it looks like the mask that they use.
Did you notice, you mentioned that the mask on the wall, the pictures or posters or whatever it is, there's one, if you really look closely, it looks like one of the masks that the CRM uses. See, you don't watch anything other than Walking Dead. You don't watch Fear the Walking Dead or
No, I don't watch those.
All right, the CRM, that's where Rick is. That's who took Rick, him and Jadis. And the same type of helmets they use was in that room.
All right, because I was wondering, because I thought they were trying to say that it's actually some of the military people were part of it. So it was all right.
Yeah, so somehow the CRM they're involved somehow with this, and it's a group that we don't know too much about it yet because I don't want to get into this now because you got to really watch the other two shows to really get the full story on it. But I dug that. It's a little hint towards the bigger picture because The Walking Dead now is a universe. It's just not this self-contained show. Even though this show's ending, they're gonna still have Fear. I believe they got another season or two, and there's gonna be other spin-offs. So it's all about where they take it, So I think this episode here, what it did, it set us up with the Commonwealth and what life is like there. And it put our characters that we've been following for a very long time in totally different positions. Like finally seeing Rosita like suiting up and being out there again instead of being the one constantly babysitting. That was awesome. I think Gabriel needs some time off. Let him babysit.
Yeah,
he needs it, right?
Get him a cabin in the woods, somewhere you can still keep an eye on him, but he needs some time alone for a little bit.
Absolutely. All right. Well, anything else you want to leave us with, Joe? What'd you say? What do you score this episode out of 5? What would you give it?
I give it, all right. So I'll give it a 3, just because it didn't have a whole lot going. It was more, as we said, showing you how life is in the Commonwealth, and as I said, the bigger thing is the more development of Sebastian.
So I'm gonna go 3.5. I enjoyed it. I thought it was awesome as far as seeing, like I said, the progression that the characters are making. But I think in the long run, it's gonna be one of those episodes where you're probably gonna, all right, when you binge it, you're gonna be okay. I can skip this one because there ain't nothing really pushing the story forward. But as far as a standalone, I thought it was pretty cool. I really did enjoy it.
Same here.
Right. Well, guys, join us next week on the Horror Fiend TV Podcast. We are going to discuss episode 11. It's going to be called Rogue Element. So please come back for the Horror Fiend TV Podcast, episode 3, covering The Walking Dead. Please like, share this video, smash that subscribe button, And please keep an eye on here because every Tuesday, 3 Corners of Horror, cannot miss that as well. Every Sunday, 10 p.m., this Walking Dead podcast will drop. And if you haven't seen the episode yet, don't come here. We're going to spoil everything. So I'm Ricky Grimes. We got my man Joe. Join us back next week for Horror Fiend TV Podcast covering everything The Walking Dead. Stay scared. Don't get bit.
Slim than chance with the averages. Sitting on the low like you added slick. Darkness make you disappear like a magic trick. Pull up to the table, come down and sit. These devils try to tie you the crown with it. Now you surrounded by counterfeits, trying to chop you up into 1,000 bits.